I'm so glad we get to be here on this kind of cool, rainy day. Um, the last few days were just gorgeous. I had so much fun doing yoga. The space I do yoga is just inside of our deck. It's kind of a covered deck. So I open the inner door and I've got these little French screen doors. And I just absolutely love practicing there. Good morning. Even if the air coming in is a little cool, it's just one of my absolute favorite things to do. So if you have not done any alfresco yoga, yet this summer, I really encourage you. Don't think, well, I don't know, I don't know enough, or I don't know a good place. It doesn't have to be somewhere you can even lay your mat down. Like literally walk up to a tree, grab your ankle for quadriceps stretch, and enjoy. Breathing. Notice the bark on the tree. But our ability to do so with pleasure is winding down. So please take advantage of these times for sure. So we're focusing this week, last week, my topic was flow and fluidity, and we did a lot of just joint mobility and range of motion, and also talked about some of what it takes to create an interior state of mobility and fluidity in our cells and our tissues, everything from collagen, I remembered the word this week, to taking fish oils, to staying hydrated, to getting good sleep, to reducing stress, that all of those things actually affect how good we feel in our joints and just our level of stiffness or fluidity. This week, we're going to do a little more kind of flow in some warrior poses and some aspects of the dog series. I'm not running dog series necessarily in the traditional way. We're going to stop and do some breaths and so on, because I think one of the challenges of a lot of the vinyasa flows is that in people's efforts to keep up with whatever the teacher might be saying or the person next to them, people tend to truncate or restrict their breathing. And of course, at the root of yoga practice, or just good living, shall we say, is a beautiful, fluid, full breath. So throughout our practice today, again, when in doubt, ignore me and tune into your breath and complete your breath cycle. Or, maybe you found a space that just feels so good to breathe. Every pose that we do is an opportunity to take breath into a different part of our body. So, when we're in child's pose, in that kind of elongated back, short in front, when we take a deep belly breath, there's an opportunity for it to massage our entire back in a very, very different way than just standing here and breathing or just sitting. So never hesitate to prioritize that. And then, as you know, this is not synchronized swimming or dancing or whatever. Join back in when you're ready, and on we go. Excuse me. As I mentioned, I'm at the end of a cold, so I have some obnoxious coughing and blowing habits. So please ignore and enjoy your practice. Let's all come down to our back bodies to start. Please have your block handy. We're going to start just with breathing. As we mentioned, it's the most amazing part of being human and of reconnecting with wholeness. The word yoga actually means to unite together, body, mind, spirit, in wholeness. So as you first settle, I invite you to tune in, turn your gaze up in towards your third eye, like you're crossing your eyes, like you want to see up behind the center of your forehead. And with that deep inner gaze, just do a little check-in with your body, your being. Sometimes I ask myself, how does it feel to be me today? What did I bring with me to the mat? And it seems like knowing our own material should be automatic and the easiest thing in the world because we're in it. But it's not always easy. There's so many other thoughts that flow through and so many other distractions from outside that tuning in to our body and being can actually be challenging. And of course, a huge gift. All right, I'm going to invite you to tune into your breath. You might add that soft ujjayi, that little bit of throat contraction, so that as the breath passes through, we're just breathing through the nose, but that little throat valve makes kind of we call it the sound, great sounding breath, the sound of wind in the trees. ocean waves. And if you're too stuffy to breathe through your nose, of course, breathing through the mouth as you need to. We can also help create an introverted state by lightly connecting the tip of the tongue at the roof of the mouth. This says, I am awake. I am here in my practice, in my body. The rest of the tongue and the jaw are soft. This says, I am non-striving. There's absolutely nothing I have to create or produce, nowhere to get to. I'm already here. As yogis, one of the skills that we create, I think, is the ability to be present in ourselves and create a feeling of home in ourselves, so that wherever we are and whatever the weather is and whatever's going on around us, that we can over and over again move towards contentment within ourselves, or noticing what's taking us out of contentment. For the next few breaths, I'm going to ask you to tune in, laser-like focus to your breath flow. Begin watching the rising breath wave, asking, is there more? And then exhaling the receding breath wave. As we do this for another maybe half a dozen rounds, we'd love to notice pause between those active turns of the breath. Notice the mind wandering, that is its nature. Simply notice. Draw your attention to breath again and again. This is the practice. And I know often people feel like, oh, I'm terrible at breath focus or meditating because my mind wanders. Everyone's mind wanders. But we practice getting better at noticing. Oh, it's wandered. Let me turn my attention to breath. It's like a muscular development. Let's do two more. Asking, is there more? Is there more? The next time you are inhaling, I invite you to slowly sweep arms overhead and just organically stretching and moving, rolling wrists and ankles, and maybe cultivating on yawn. Then we'll clasp the right knee into the belly, release wind pose. Heels are flexed firmly, reaching as far away as we can. Heel to heel. And we'll switch. Guide the left knee into the belly. Power down through the right thigh. And then we'll plant our feet. We're going to take the block and raise the hips, settling the block directly under the sacral triangle. If you've been doing a bunch of carving and other stuff, firewood, this should feel really good in that low back. Or sometimes just sitting a lot can create low back tension. We have our two distinct shapes here. Knees bent. I always start there. And then the other is legs draping. The body is just relaxed, draped over the block. And some of us, if you're tight enough, like I am, you'll feel this all the way through the hip girdle and into the low abdomen. Sometimes you might even feel it up in the xiphoid process, kind of diaphragm zone. You tuck your wingtips of your shoulder blades in towards the spine a little, that will reduce neck and back tension. Never let me rush you. with my words. So if this is still feeling fabulous, stay. If it starts building tension, come off. And then we'll all bring knees to belly. We're just gonna hang out here for a little bit. Spinal rocking, a little side to side. You might notice if you let your knees move away from you and then in towards you. You really guide the massage kind of up into the kidneys and then down into the lower back. Then we're gonna plant the feet, place the block in between the thighs for bridge pose. This effort with the block is one of the things that I know best will develop our core strength and stability. So if that's something you're focused on these days, I would make this a part of daily life. Let's take a nice long inhale. You're arranging your arm however you'd like. Sometimes I do just the upper arm anchored. Exhaling, squeeze the block and let that raise the hips up off the floor. On the inhale, we're going to descend one rib at a time. This is a great wake-up call for the back body, which is historically weak and tight in a lot of us. Exhale and rise. Squeeze the imaginary block, anchoring through all four corners of your feet. Inhaling, descending. Notice on your descent if you tend to tighten or use the neck. Try to stay loosey-goosey through there. Good. There's some nice ujjayi. Someone's got that ocean sounding breath going. Last time. Okay, we're gonna release the block and bring the knees towards me and wide for happy baby. So you might be clasping the big toe, the blades of the feet across the soles of the feet with a strap if you need to, and shoulder heads anchoring down. Try to stay connected through that low back area. Don't let it get curled up off the floor. And again, it's kind of nice to ask, how is it to be me? How much intensity, how much ease? And then some of my favorite add-ons here are to then slide upper arm to the floor and do half straddles. Letting one heel come in towards the butt, the other leg straightening out. So there's a good chance to notice what's in your leg and hips before they are weight bearing. We'll be doing some good lunging and straddling today. So it's a good chance to check in. And then I'm going to bring my heels together in butterfly at the butt. And I'm going to bring 1 foot higher towards the belly button, which kind of rolls me to the other side. I'm just enjoying a little bit of spinal twisting. Let my head roll along, letting my hips get stretched. We're going to return to bridge and add our foot hover. So anchoring again through upper arms and ever so slowly raising 1 foot at a time off the floor. This is a great chance to notice if you feel weaker in one side. Rarely are we actually weaker. It's just we may have some muscles that are tighter, that aren't firing as well. This is a great chance to wake up and lubricate the whole area. Our butt and thighs are a big powerhouse part of our strength and stability. And slowly release on down. We're going to take the right ankle across the left thigh for reclining pigeon. I'm going to raise my left leg and hug my right knee tightly towards my chest before sending it a little towards the center line. And my hope is you're feeling some of that right in that right piriformis, maybe hamstring, the thigh, depending on how tight you are where. No wings, no shrugs, shoulders relaxing down. Yeah, it's just a nice massage you get to give yourself here on a Tuesday morning. Your own time, you'll switch. Is this side different? Again, can you breathe into it? And the most important thing in yoga is our breathing. So whether we're in a stillness or flow, doesn't matter. Breathe and breathe. Fabulous. We're going to plant our feet wide in horse riding stance. Just raise it on up. And then in your own time, we're going to come onto our hands and knees in table pose. So some people like to cross-legged and kind of spinal rocking up. So you stay onto hands, up to you. Intelligent hands, fingers are spread wide. Cow cat. Inhaling, draw the heart forward. Exhaling, tuck the tailbone. Take your time with this, really explore again, where are the restricted stiff spaces, level them with movement, tension, breath. On your next exhale, hanging out of the cat back, keep your ribs to the left and looking out over the right shoulder. The ribs to the right, over that left shoulder. And lowering the chest and walking that right hand forward, so you're kind of half puppy. Then I'm going to just roll towards my right temple, which should give a nice extra stretch to that right shoulder. I say nice, but if you've got a shoulder issue or history right now, please notice, of course, if anything's feeling just to protect it. In your own time, nice core support to return to table. And we'll lower and reach through that left here. And I always say yoga is like a good massage you give yourself. I'm hearing some good like oohs out there. So that makes me happy. And to your cat pose. We're going to do just a little hip circling, so kind of like fire hydrant, but taking that knee in a full circle. And at some point, you want to reverse your circle. And as I'm doing this, I'm trying to be supported and lifted in my core. So I'm not just leaning on that other arm, not taking on neck tension. But at some point, it might feel good to straighten the leg all the way behind you. Get a nice flexion through the foot, leg completely straight. Boom. Good. Then as you're ready, let's find that other side. Then we're going to be taking it to bear pose. So as you're ready, and remember to straighten that left leg like we did the right. As you're ready, you'll take your hands and feet pretty wide on the mat. Shoulder heads anchor down. And send the hips up and back. Deep knee bend. And for side, taking just a couple of side breaths there, kind of pulsating through my hips and shoulders, just seeing what kind of range of motion I've got. Then I'm going to invite you to straighten your left leg, working your left heel towards the floor, and let it take your hips and shoulders to the right. And vice versa, right heel working towards the floor, hips and shoulders go to the left. Marvelous. Then lower the knees, bring those feet in child's pose. When you get to decide how active a stretch this is through your chest and shoulders, maybe you're ready for a little shoulder break and you just want those kind of soft. Maybe you want to get that deeper torso stretch all the way from the hand to the hip bone. Deep belly breath. We'll get into that low spine. Marvelous. Nice core support as you come up out of this. We're just going to come right to the floor. So I'm going to do kind of a sort of a floppy chaturanga. I'm just going to put my elbows and get my chest on down there. Good. I want to play a little bit with some of the integrity of Cobra and Upward Dog. So we're just going to be doing a little focused work on that. To find the right hand position for Cobra, don't place the hands and then make the shoulders accommodate. Have the hands hovering just a little off the floor. And then work the no wings, no shrugs, right? So elbows in, shoulders down the back body. Plant the pelvis. Inhale, draw the heart and head forward. Exhale, return. So this is just cobra with no pressure into the hands. We're not doing a king cobra. Then I'm going to invite you to see if we want to take it into a little knee down upward dog. So keep your knees on the floor, plant those hands, and then press, letting those arms come straight. Now I can feel the weight is in the root of my wrist instead of my whole palm. My hands are too far forward. So you can also walk your knees forward is another way to get that dimension right. You feel that full circle of the palm bearing the weight. That's what you want. Good. Let's come back down again. Keep your hands where they are. Now we've got it. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, soften. Inhale, upward facing dog with knees down. Exhale, relax down. We're going to do that one more time. Inhale, cobra. Exhaling, soften. Take as long as you like. Inhaling, cobra, knees down. And if you like, onto the tops of the feet or the balls of the feet and get the thighs up off the floor. Good. Exhale and press back downward facing dog, deep knee bend. Inhale and drop the knees. Come forward into your knee down plank. Again, check your hand position. We're going to do just a mini chaturanga. So I just want you to bend your elbows and straighten. And you should feel this in your triceps, not in your traps. And then all the way to the floor. Well, let's get off those wrists, shall we? Give them a roll out, a love up. Then we're going to intertwine in yoga mudra behind our backs. So palms facing each other. Shoulder head circle down the back. And then we work to straighten those arms. Pelvis anchored, especially if you want to take flight a little bit. So press those hands back. Let it bring the chest off the floor if that feels natural. And exhale and either release and just become a lump here. Or if your low back needs, you might wipe your legs or press back child's pose. I love it when I look out and everyone in the room is doing something slightly different. That is exciting. That means you are practicing your yoga, being in wholeness in your body and mind today. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. All right, we're going to come into, excuse me, our Janira plane. So palms are facing the floor. And once again, I actually want the shoulders to decide where the hands end up. Sometimes I see people preparing for jet airplane and they've got their hands right in by their hips, which is going to mess up the shoulder. So shoulder head circle up by the ears, the ceiling, down the back, and then the hands are where they are. Good. Anchor pelvic triangle. Inhale, extend, letting the heart come up if that feels natural. Exhale, return. And this is one of our most important postures for developing a body that is upright and strong. I feel like it's part kind of knowing who we are in the world too, like walking through the world awake versus kind of hunched forward and tired and floppy. And when we're tired, it's hard to remember to be engaged. But interestingly, just taking this stance can give us more energy for whatever the day is asking of us. One more. And again, your choice to either just relax, turn the head to the side, or press back child's pose. It probably would be a great yoga day without horror. Am I right? Yeah, we're right. Okay. So again, noting that starting knees down gives you a chance to just see how your body is today if you haven't already been doing form like this morning. So shoulder heads anchor down, neck is real peaceful and easy. And we just raise the hips off the floor to form. Reminder as some of the colder temperatures of the month come on, this is a great way to up your metabolism and just your interior temperature. It's also a great way to manage stress. Practicing being in a power pose while breathing slow, deep, and wide can make us warriors of stress. I don't mean stressed out warriors or warriors who create stress. I mean the ones who can handle it. Neck is soft, light connection to the tongue. Maybe even a soft smile. Notice that might change your experience. Whew, anybody else getting hot? Lord, come on. All right, we're gonna come into glider plane next. And I emphasize both jet plane and glider plane because they work different parts of the back and the shoulders. So this time we've got our arms straight out from the heart, fingers spread wide. And as you're ready, inhale, extend. Maybe it's just that my arms coming off the floor. Maybe it's also the chest. Maybe you're rising and settling. You get to side. And when you are complete, I'm going to offer an exit ramp. You can take it or a different one. You guys know there's lots of ways to get anywhere in yoga, especially the way I share it. When you're ready, if you'd like, when you're in your extension next time, bring those hands into what you think is your cobra upward facing dog alignment. Your choice. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, belly to spine, downward facing dog. Good. Kettle it, enjoy it, fill it with breath. Maybe you want to work both heels towards the floor. Hello. And then we're going to take the right leg forward. Keep using that core lift so there's very little weight into your shoulders. Exhale, we're going to bring that right foot forward, not setting it towards the outside of the right end of the mat. Yeah, nice and wide. Inhale, rotate open to the ceiling. Make sure that back leg is powering toward the ceiling. I don't want to be collapsed downward. And return back, downward facing. Left leg front. Keep drawing into your back body through the ribs. Exhale, step that left foot forward. Inhale and open. Remember, keep pressing up through that back thigh. Exhale and step back down, facing down. Inhaling, bend the knees and look forward. And exhaling, we're going to hop forward with our feet wide, like a little frog fly. You got it. Inhale, root rise, push the ceiling away. Exhaling for hands. Keeping those feet nice and wide, we're going to take that right arm. And as we're sweeping, preparing for our thread the needle, I'm sure as you know, I'd love you to please let your arm go as far as it can, taking the body and the head with it. So let your vision travel. Obviously, if this bothers your knees at all, then don't keep the feet rooted, let it move. And no cross. And notice as you tilt down towards that hand, you look down, it might give you a nice extra massage through that shoulder blade zone. This is one of my morning go-to if I wake up with go-tos if I wake up with a tight neck or after massaging a lot. And we release it on the skin. And we'll explore the left side. Keep the breathing steady even if your movement is fast. And the next time you're coming across, hold. Perhaps tilting down towards that hand up to you. And at some point, releasing, give it a spin. Crunchy crunch. All right, inhaling, root and rise, big blue squeeze, raise the heart to the heavens, exhaling fold. All right, we're going to do a little pulsing here. Make sure your feet are the right angle for whatever's comfortable for your knees, because what it won't know until you do it. But we're gonna inhale and drop the butt. You don't have to go all the way down, and you can let the feet lift. You can bring them in, whatever you gotta do. Exhale, raise the hips and fold. Is there more? Is there more? Let's do about 3 more. So tempting to go to the next movement before the breath is really complete. So much of how we live in general, isn't it? It's barely take time to adjust what we're doing. And as you're ready, we're going to step back to downward facing dog one more time. We're going to take right leg wide. Make sure you're fully supported the core before you bend the right knee. And I'm inviting you to open that right hip. So use your left butt cheek to squeeze towards the center of the mat. Then neutral it, bring that right foot forward. We're going to be coming up into an upright lunge. Before you do that, please make sure your foot is forward. That you've got your right hip bone back, left hip bone forward. Nice core support, or if you'd like, hand on top. You got it. Dip that left knee. Nice stretch through that quad and hip. One more inhale if you'd like, a little heart lift. Exhale and release, downward facing dog. Little upward dog, downward dog. Your choice of knee down or staying on the feet. Again, you can always do something else, couch pad. Is a great alternate. Anything that'll give you spinal comfort. Left leg flying slow and steady so you can notice if you did anything to compromise. Bend the knee and open the hip, big squeeze from that right butt cheek. Core support as you bring that left foot forward. Pause. And if you can't really get it forward up to your knee, use your hand to bring that ankle forward. Left hip back, right hip bone forward. And as you're ready, powerfully or with support into your lunge. Dip that right knee. And you get to play here. Where's your good spot? Make sure that front knee is tracking with the foot. We don't want it in or out. And then as you're ready to hold in that knee dip, big heart lift. Exhaling, step back. Down your big up. All right, we're going to be doing I'm offering another option for a hop. I'm not saying everyone's going to want to do it. This time you're actually kind of hopping into cross-legged. You're like, what? So you're going to come back like this, same thing, inhale, then you're going to hop. You kind of have to hold yourself with your arms on like you're doing a push-up, and that gives you time. That actually was way better than the one that I did. So kind of a fun adventure. All right, so speaking of fun adventures, I know a lot of people who don't like balancing poses because they think they're bad at it. It's just like meditating. It's the same thing. We don't like doing the things we think we're not good at. But I actually think it's really fun to find a place in a balancing pose where you're kind of wobbling, because I think that's really interesting. So we're going to start with our ankles crossed, and I'm just holding onto my knees. Shoulder heads are down. And I'm going to root and rise, sits bones to crown. I'm just going to raise my feet off the floor and get a little of that going, right? Now, I can, of course, steady it just by rounding and sitting on my sacrum. I don't want to do that. I want to be up and breathe and wobble and notice. So I think a big part of being a spiritual warrior in this world is, in a sense, getting comfortable with being uncomfortable, comfortable with things that are a little unclear. Because the truth is, most of the time when we think we know what's going on or what's coming, you don't know. You have no idea. All right, see if you can then bring those feet wide, put the hands in behind the knees. And if you would like, you could play with straightening out into a straddle. Come on out of it. Invitation to cross. Fold. Jump back down or facing dog. Make sure you give yourself straight arms, tap back. And that has the potential to give you a chance to hop. We're going to come into some warrior fun. If you don't like getting here from leg flying, just meet us upright. You can always step into the pose. Inhaling, right leg flying, whatever you want to add, the hip opener, right foot comes forward. Come to your version of warrior one or crescent lunge. So warrior one, the back foot is flat. Crescent lunge, we're on the ball of back foot. So it's whatever feels juicy. All right. Again, we're steering those hip bones. We might be moving arms, we might just be holding. In a moment, we're going to open up to our warrior two, and I want you to kind of, as we go, think about externally rotating the thighs. So it actually is kind of a squeezing of the right butt cheek towards the center line of the mat. And that should get us with the knee tracking. Now we're going to hang out in exalted warrior for a little bit, or reverse warrior, depending on whether your knee's straight or bent. I'm going to keep mine bent, and I'm going to take my right arm up. I'm just going to hang out there and pulse the pose. So letting my hips rise and settle. I might look up at the hand and then down at the floor. Something to breathe softly inside of what hopefully becomes good effort. Hopefully getting heat in those thighs. And we're going to straighten that front leg. Just bring that right hand down on the inside of the knee and make sure the knee is tracking with the foot. If it's on the inside, we don't want that. And we don't want to go so far down that we take our body forward out of this path of motion. Shoulders stacked as if you're moving between two walls. Hold for another moment and just see if you can steer your left shoulder back over your right shoulder. Coming slowly on up. Feet turn to straddle and fold. Nice knee bend. And we'll go sides. And we're going to walk the hands to the back of the mat and step back downward facing dog. If you decide to look back here, you can see me waving. Hi. And as always, your choice of how you want to flow, but we're going to take that left leg fly, making our journey towards warrior one or crescent lunge onto the mat. Always steer. Left hip goes back, right hip goes forward. We really want to make sure our glutes are participating. That's the thing, we tend to not use our butt a lot. And we really want it to be strong. So you can kind of say hello to it here, especially if you open to our warrior two, using that left butt cheek, that front leg, to send it towards the center line. We like connection tip of the tongue, soft and shiny. That's great. And again, come into my reverse warrior here. I'm going to reach up to my left arm. I'm just letting my right arm hang down and do what you like. And then I look up at the ceiling, down at the floor. And then I'm going to straighten that front leg. So it's essentially the preparation for triangle pose. I'm going to think about, again, externally rotating my thighs. So I'm sending my left hip towards the center line of the mat. I'm squeezing with my thigh muscles to rotate externally. So I should feel very stable as you slowly slide that left hand down the inside of the leg. And think about stacking the right shoulder back over the left. And come slowly neutral the feet, ragdoll into your straddle here. Oh. And we're going to go side to side with the invitation to hold to one side for multiple breaths. So there are two really distinct ways to do that. One is keeping the feet flat. The other is letting the one foot release from the floor and rotate towards the ceiling. When I get there, I really love the add-on of kind of reaching my hands away. I find it interestingly really changes and deepens the stretch into the thigh joint. And ideally, we seduce our body into softening with breath. It's the ultimate communication. It says to every cell in our body, I'm whole, I'm well, I'm safe. There's nothing that needs fixing. We're going to then come onto our butt again, however you would like to get there. And very fun to see pretty much as many ways down onto the butt as there are bodies in the room. I love it. I'm gonna basically, I think I'll start with my left foot in. So if you kind of bring your left foot in towards you, I've just got my right leg here kind of supporting. I'm gonna lean on my left hand. Then I'm gonna see if I can get my middle and index finger through between my big and second toe. And no wings, no shrugs. And I'm using my arm to just allow me to kind of tilt onto my hip as much allows me to get that on the right line. Yeah. And we can bend and straighten. I'm hoping you find some fluidity here that is hard to get when you're standing. I'm one of those people, really tight hamstrings. And I love the range of stretch that I can get to by moving left to right. Again, just bending and straightening. And as you're ready, we'll switch. How are you guys doing out there? I always say yoga doesn't fix everything, but we're never the same as when we got to the mat. It always evolves us in some way. So is this side different? Is one leg tighter? Yeah. Then we're gonna just slowly take both legs out into a straddle, nothing aggressive. This is a nice place to check in with that side of the body, IT bands that run knee to hips. And you can actually, even if you bring your hand kind of low, you can even get into where IT band and hamstring kind of come together. And for me, that's often an intense place. I find it is also on a lot of my massage clients. And you can kind of just use your fingers to dig in, or imagine you're strumming a very thick guitar string. Very thick. Occasionally I meet people for whom this is not intense at all. And I'm like, how are you? How did you get to be you? How can I be more like you? I'm going to invite us in another round of pigeon, essentially. You can either return to your back body for pigeon recline, or you can come with me once again, crossing legs, rolling onto hands. I'm just going to keep my right knee here behind my right wrist. And I remind you, there is never an effort or an intention of cranking that foot forward. That's how we hurt our knees and our low backs. Just generally by settling our weight, most of us will get a stretch, perhaps even into that IT band area that we were massaging. Anybody besides me got that? Yeah, goody. And if you can settle the forehead on the stacked fist or the floor. If you're wanting to experiment with a little extra intensity, you could use your left foot to just pull your body back a little bit. If that creates pressure in the knee, I would do it. Deep into the breath, noticing where it travels. What I find super fun, it's like magic, is picturing an area like my right thigh that's tight or sore, and intending to send breath and circulation to it. And then noticing that often you can feel it resonate. You can feel it help remove stagnation. If I do a little bellows breathing, I won't be doing it through the nose because I can't. And similarly, if you have to do through the mouth, but otherwise it's a rapid in and out through the nose. Until a long inhale, exhaling through the mouth. So there are multiple ways, of course, that we can exit this pose. One is you can just roll out to the right hip if you want and straighten the leg and give it a break. The other is you could just come onto your back knee and kick that leg out behind and do another knee and hip circle. Just notice what would feel good to you today. Then we'll guide the left knee forward. And you might use your back leg to drop back a little, deepen the edge. To come out, we're going to be coming into quadricep stretch, which I know some people prefer a standing version, some side body. I'm going to go into front body because after the quad stretch, I'm going to take it into bow pose. Bow pose is such an amazing pose because it stretches our entire front line. It can make it difficult to breathe, so we've got to be really intentional. If anyone needs help with a strap, I'm happy to do that. If you're doing front body version, you might start with the forearm across the front. That makes it a lot easier to raise your chest and reach back for that first angle. Breathe and notice. Kind of a fun little add-on that we can do in quad stretches, a little bit of resistance. I think we did this last week. So if you want to compress your ankle into your hand and then soften back into the stretch, sometimes that action, that back and forth, can seduce stagnation and old held tension into moving along. You know, just sort of like some friendships at some point, like, yeah, I'm not feeling it anymore. We don't have to keep hanging. At any point, of course, feel free to switch, but don't rush it. These guys are big, bossy muscles. They take time. Is this side of the grip? What's knowable? At some point when you come out, you might want a windshield wiper or give them a little break. And then invitation, if you'd like to join in bow pose, or if you're doing standing, obviously you can't hold both ankles, you could do half one side again and then the other. Yes, almost. So grabbing one ankle at a time, anchor the pelvis, I'll be right there. And letting your shoulder heads be drawn back. Well played. Okay. So let the breath kind of rock you. Let it mobilize the pose, the face and neck soft. And then release and let the body settle into whatever resting pose, whether it's on your belly or child's pose. I will say, I know there are a lot of colds going around. Pretty much everyone I know either has one or they're like, oh yeah, I already had that. Like, okay. The more you can keep circulation in, the easier it is for the body to fight things off or to heal from them. Lots of water. I'm going to ask you to notice what, if anything, in your body became really apparent today, like, oh, this area is tight, sore, weak. What area needs more attention? So I'm going to invite you in the next minute or so to repeat something we did. Maybe like, we're going to do more forearm plank, jet airplane, or maybe like, I really need some more hip stuff. If you can feel that there's a part of your body that's talking to you, but you're not sure what to give it, I would love to hear from you. Sort of. Hair flossing, good. Sometimes we're called for self massage, neck love. In the ideal world, everyone is Mayata. Everyone would do a couple minutes of yoga every day. And by a couple, I mean a couple. I don't mean 15. I mean, I don't need it's 15. But just would find the kind of 3 or 4 things that really help our body be its strongest, most balanced in terms of tension, and to do those things. So a reminder that I'm here to help you think about that practice, design it if you'd like. When you are complete with your exploration that you're on, I'm going to ask you to gather any goods that you need to be comfortable, if it's a layer, etc. We're going to be settling onto our backs. We're going to be doing some more focused pranayama. If being on your back that long is bothersome, you could be seated. You could also be on your belly if you wanted, but I also find laying like a folded blanket under the pelvis can make a difference. You could also go to the wall and put legs up the wall, or at home, you could have your legs up on an ottoman or a sofa. And I know a lot of people are living very full lives right now. And sometimes you can feel just a little overdone and a little fatigued. And remind you that anytime you take legs up, there's a restorative quality. It can be quite marvelous. So as you settle into whatever comfortable shape, we're going to just do a few sighing breaths to soften our systems into the moment. Long, slow inhale. So we're going to come into our relaxation breath. And the length of these segments will just depend on you. But essentially, they say you inhale to the count of 4, hold into the count of 6, and exhale over 8. And essentially what we're doing is holding that exhale to be twice as long as the inhale. Notice when thinking intervenes, return to breath attention. Inhaling 4, holding in 6, and exhaling 8. Throughout this, we practice being relaxed, soft through the mouth, if you like just the tip of the tongue. If you run out of breath and you can't quite make that 8 count, don't struggle. Just enjoy starting the next breath cycle. We'll do this over and over again. We're going to do this specific breath practice for a couple of minutes, and then we'll shift to another one. Tuning deeply into your body, you might notice your heart rate. You might notice where you feel the effects of the breath off. As we continue just a little while longer with our relaxation breath, please scan and see if there's any part of your body that relax more fully while doing this cycle. The next time you're exhaling, just let that breath just go and notice if you need to do a couple of just deep breaths, stretching out. We're then going to come into our box breath. And again, this can be done laying down, seated, etc. Box breath incorporates two breath blocks, so both a holding in and a holding out. And again, it says to the count of four on all of these things, but it's how long is four? So it's very much you finding what is that right rhythm. For me, it takes usually 4 or 5 cycles to find what is the right length where I'm neither oxygen starved nor rushing with myself. So as you're ready, you're going to inhale to the count of 4 and then hold in internal breath to the count of 4. Then exhale to the count of 4 and hold out to the count of 4. So creating equal sides, 4 sides of a box, shall we say. As I understand it, this is a breath practice that the Navy SEALs use to focus attention. And I think in this very distracting, upheaving world, it's wonderful to become someone who is better at directing our attention, noticing our thoughts, and then choosing what we're present with. So these are the muscles we're developing right now. Inhaling 4, holding in, exhaling, and holding out. If there are any questions, let me know. We'll be here for a couple of minutes. If you lose track of where you are, just begin the cycle again with the inhale. Notice if the mind has wandered, return to breath attention. Do this for another minute or so. When you've completed the next box breath, just let that just go and notice what you need in terms of breathing or counter stretching. We're going to come into our last pranayama practice breath cycle for today. And in some ways it seems the simplest, but I think that it also offers the most depth. And that is just our simple breath walks, our holding out and our holding in. And the reason I say it offers so much depth is because it takes us to more of an edge of discomfort. The other breath walks that we've been doing in the other breath cycles don't take us to as much physical intensity or perhaps emotion, because a lot of people experience when they're holding the breath out as long as they can or in as long as they can, that it can cultivate anxiousness. And I remind everybody you can breathe whatever you want. So you're not on the verge of actually being unsafe. Obviously, if you have any reason to think this isn't safe for you, don't do it. Otherwise, the next time you're exhaling, you simply hold out and get curious. What are the sensations this ignites? And I soften around the holding. When I need to inhale, I breathe in and hold an internal breath block. And what sensations does this ignite? What feelings come up, if any? In this breath practice for about 1 more minute, and then I'll time my bowl. And at that time, if you'd like, you're welcome to continue with this or any of the breath practices, or simply let them go and spend basically about 5 minutes in your yogic sleep or yoga nidra or resting time. That is an incredibly profound space where the body can integrate all we're doing. Allowing your body to go heavy with gravity, to welcome the nourishing energy, rest.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye
Have a
now.
great day.
You bet. You too.